and Washington's game of power in peril, the stakes just got higher. A top security chief ousted in disgrace. A political firestorm ignited by leaked secrets and back-channel deals. And now, at the height of the chaos, a familiar face is circling the summit of American power. Once again, Stephen Miller, the architect of Trump's hardest-line policies. A man both feared and revered, poised to seize the most critical security post in the nation. U.S. President Donald Trump on May 4th suggested that Stephen Miller, his deputy chief of staff, is a leading contender to become the next national security advisor.
Are you considering Stephen Miller for that position?
Stephen Miller's at the top of the totem pole. I mean, I think he sort of indirectly already has that job. You understand? Because he has a lot to say about a lot of things. He's a very valued person in the administration, Stephen Miller.
Trump said he expects to announce a permanent successor to Mike Waltz within 6 months. Stephen Miller is a prominent American political advisor, widely recognized for shaping U.S. President Donald Trump's policy agenda, particularly on immigration and national security. Born on the 23rd of August, 1985 in Santa Monica, California, Miller graduated from Duke University with a degree in political science. He began his career as a press secretary for Republican Representatives Michelle Bachmann and John Shadegg, later serving as communications director for Senator Jeff Sessions. It was during this time that Miller began cultivating his signature hardline stance on immigration. Miller joined Trump's 2016 presidential campaign as a senior policy advisor and speechwriter. He played a pivotal role in crafting key speeches, including Trump's inaugural address in Trump's first term. Miller served as senior advisor to the president for policy and director of speechwriting, following Trump's departure from office. In 2021, Miller launched the American First Legal Foundation, a conservative legal outfit focused on challenging progressive policies through the courts. After Trump's return to the White House, Miller was brought back to the White House as Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security Advisor. He is now seen as a frontrunner to succeed Mike Waltz as National Security Advisor. Stephen Miller has long been regarded as the ideological engine behind President Donald Trump's most hardline and controversial immigration policies, from the Muslim ban and the termination of deferred action for childhood arrivals to the zero-tolerance policy that led to family separations at the U.S.-Mexico border. Miller's influence has left an indelible mark on American immigration policy. A report by Vanity Fair described Miller as someone who purged government agencies of civil servants deemed insufficiently loyal to his agenda, characterizing his approach as both extreme and uncompromising. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the Trump administration's decision to halt new green card issuances was widely seen as a continuation of Miller's effort to restrict all forms of immigration. Miller's views on immigration were evident early in his career. His reported ties to anti-Muslim figures helped him secure his first job on Capitol Hill, and his tenure as communications director for then-Senator Jeff Sessions solidified his hardline stance. That Miller's rhetoric from the 2016 campaign trail foreshadowed the policies to come. At a rally in Dallas, he said, "You've seen what it does to living standards, to wages, the innocent victims of illegal immigrant crime. You have seen death. You have seen the needless destruction because we can't secure this border." Such statements, combined with his policy record, have made him one of the most polarizing figures in modern U.S. politics. After Miller's emails containing white nationalist content were verified by hate watch, over 80 Democratic lawmakers called for his resignation. Reports also indicated discontent among civil servants tasked with implementing his directives. Miller's stance on U.S. immigration policy has been unwavering and consistently provocative. In 2018, Miller said it was a simple decision by the administration to have a zero-tolerance policy for illegal entry, period. The message is that no one is exempt from immigration law. Earlier, in 2016, Miller claimed that illegal immigrants were committing violent crimes against Americans. It has never been easier in American history for illegal aliens to commit crimes of violence against Americans. And in 2015, Miller argued that championing diversity was the easiest path to wealth in the U.S. The one sure way to get rich in modern America is to offer yourself up as a virtue signal to the national religion, diversity. Miller's potential promotion raises signify and questions about the future direction of U.S. national security policy and whether Miller's deeply polarizing views will once again shape the heart of the administration. United States President Donald Trump on May 1st dismissed National Security Advisor Michael Waltz and appointed Secretary of State Marco Rubio to the role on an interim basis. The move comes at a critical time for U.S. foreign policy, with Trump pursuing back-channel talks with Iran and facing growing scrutiny over internal divisions in his national security team. Trump announced that he would nominate Waltz as the next U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, calling him a hard worker who has always put our nation's interests first.
I actually think it's a higher position. You want to know the truth? I think it's an upgrade. I think moving him there's an upgrade. He was fine, and where he is, he'll do a good job.
What made you lose
I don't
confidence?
consider that. I didn't lose confidence in him.
So what was
Why did I lose confidence? He's going to the United Nations. To me, I think it's personally, if I had to choose for myself of doing, I'd rather have that job than the.
Waltz, a former Green Beret and U.S. Army veteran, had recently come under intense criticism following a major security breach, according to The Atlantic. Waltz created a private group chat on the encrypted messaging app Signal that included Vice President J.D. Vance and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The group was reportedly set up to coordinate discussions on potential military strikes in Yemen. However, the chat was mistakenly exposed when Jeffrey Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, was added to the group in error. Goldberg subsequently published excerpts from the conversation, prompting a political firestorm. Waltz took full responsibility for the breach, but the damage was already done. The fallout casts a shadow over Trump's national security team, with both Waltz and Hegseth facing calls to resign from Democratic lawmakers. The controversy deepened after Waltz was photographed at a cabinet meeting using a modified, less secure version of Signal to communicate with senior officials. Beyond the communication scandal, Waltz reportedly angered the U.S. president with his foreign policy moves, according to the Washington Post. He engaged in intense coordination with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over potential strikes on Iran. Even as the Trump administration explored Omani-mediated diplomacy with Tehran, that Netanyahu's office has denied the report, dismissing claims of intensive contact with Waltz. Still, Trump is said to have been frustrated by the NSA's increasingly hawkish stance, particularly at a time when he is prioritizing a more cautious approach to the Iran file. Waltz also appears to have clashed with key figures inside the White House. He reportedly built up tensions with Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, who came to view him as out of step with Trump's inner circle and decision-making style. That Waltz's exit marks the latest reshuffle in a volatile national security team, and all eyes are now on whom Trump will name to the role permanently. For now, Marco Rubio, a seasoned foreign policy figure, steps in to navigate an increasingly complex global landscape.